The Convergence Summit brought together a dozen species attempting to negotiate peace after generations of conflict. Corporal Lucas Kane was there as security detail, a role so far below diplomatic notice that he was essentially invisible. Among the assembled dignitaries was Princess Arianna Moonwhisper of the Aetherian sovereignty, whose long, elegant ears and luminous eyes marked her species as one of the galaxy's oldest civilizations. She carried herself with the grace expected of royalty, participated in negotiations with sharp intelligence, and somehow managed to treat even low-ranking security personnel with genuine courtesy that seemed unforced. Lucas found himself drawn to her in ways absolutely inappropriate for a corporal regarding a princess. He told himself it was just admiration for someone handling incredible pressure with dignity. He told himself the way she smiled when passing him in corridors didn't mean anything, that her stopping to ask his name was just good manners. But over weeks of the summit, Lucas couldn't help noticing details. How Ariana's ears angled forward when she was genuinely interested in conversation. How she slipped away to the observation deck during breaks like she needed to escape diplomatic performance. How her formal composure cracked into something younger and more vulnerable when she thought nobody was watching. One evening, Lucas found the observation deck occupied. Ariana stood at the windows overlooking the nebula, looking exhausted in ways that suggested the summit was taking tolls beyond just long negotiations. They talked, not as princess and security guard, but as two people tired of the roles they were required to play. The conversation was easy in ways that surprised them both, casual honesty replacing careful diplomatic language. Over the following weeks, these meetings became routine, both drawn to the same quiet space, conversations deepening from small talk to genuine connection. Lucas learned that Ariana loved xenobiology, studied alien species from genuine curiosity rather than political advantage. Ariana discovered that Lucas wrote poetry, a hobby he'd never shared with military colleagues because it seemed absurdly impractical for a soldier. They shared perspectives on the summit, on species attempting peace, on the strange isolation of being surrounded by people yet feeling fundamentally alone. Lucas knew he was falling in love, completely, hopelessly, with someone far beyond his reach. She was a princess, heir to a civilization predating human spaceflight by millennia. He was a corporal whose most notable achievement was perfect attendance at his post. The gulf between them was so vast that even entertaining thoughts of anything more than friendship was delusional. But he couldn't help it. The way she laughed at his terrible jokes, the way her ears swept back when she was relaxed, the way she looked at stars like she saw infinite possibilities. He'd never felt this way about anyone, and he knew with absolute certainty that nothing could come of it. One evening, watching Ariana silhouetted against the nebula's glow, Lucas whispered to himself words he never intended anyone to hear. "I wish I could marry her." It was barely audible even to himself, just quiet acknowledgement of impossible longing spoken into what he thought was private silence. Ariana's long ears, designed to catch sounds across distances humans couldn't perceive, picked up every word. She turned from the window, her luminous eyes finding Lucas with an expression he couldn't immediately read. For several heartbeats that felt like eternity, she said nothing. Then, her voice gentle but carrying absolute certainty, "My answer is yes." Lucas's brain short-circuited. "I what?" Ariana stepped closer, her smile genuine, unguarded, nothing like the diplomatic expression she wore during negotiations. "You wished you could marry me. I heard you, and my answer is yes." The confession should have terrified her. Royal marriages were political arrangements in Aetherian culture, carefully negotiated alliances between houses. Accepting a proposal from a human corporal went against every expectation placed on her since childhood. But Ariana had spent weeks knowing Lucas not as security detail, but as a person, someone who saw the galaxy with wonder instead of calculation, who treated her like a person rather than political asset, who made her laugh and challenged her thinking. "I can't offer you this," Lucas managed. "I'm nobody, you're a princess. This is impossible." Arianna's long ears swept forward in determination. "My people believe compatibility between souls matters more than political convenience. You've shown me more genuine care in these weeks than suitors who approached with perfect credentials and empty hearts. If you truly wish to marry me, then I accept, not because of your rank or status, but because of who you are." The declaration was stunning in its directness, its disregard for political complications. Lucas realized this wasn't a princess speaking from duty, but a person choosing connection over convenience. The announcement sent shockwaves through the summit. The Aetherian delegation reacted with horror. Their princess, accepting marriage proposal from a human corporal, threatened carefully maintained protocols. Earth's military command panicked. Their security personnel, somehow engaged to alien royalty, created diplomatic complications nobody trained them to handle. Arianna handled the crisis with sharp intelligence Lucas had watched her deploy during negotiations. She invoked ancient Aetherian law about soul bonding, a tradition predating modern political marriages, where compatibility of spirit superseded considerations of rank or status. She argued that preventing this match based purely on Lucas's lack of noble birth violated the very principles Aetherian culture claimed to value. Lucas found himself thrust into galactic politics completely unprepared. Earth's representatives offered him promotions, tried to make him more suitable through manufactured credentials. Aetherian nobles attempted to bribe or threaten him into withdrawing his proposal. Through all the chaos, Arianna remained constant. She stood beside Lucas during meetings where her own advisors argued she was making catastrophic mistakes. She defended their connection to her family, to her people, to assembled diplomats who saw scandal rather than love story. Her determination forced Lucas to confront his own fears. Was he brave enough to accept what she was offering, knowing the complications it would create? The turning point came when his commanding officer tried convincing him to step back. Lucas's response was simple. "I whispered a wish thinking nobody would hear. She heard it anyway and said yes. Walking away now wouldn't protect her. It would tell her I value my comfort over her courage. She's fighting for this. How can I do less?" The wedding happened at the summit itself, diplomatic necessity becoming celebration. Aetherian and human traditions blended in ceremony that became symbol of broader peace, proof that connection can transcend species barriers, political expectations, and social hierarchies. Lucas stood beside Arianna, still processing that his whispered wish led to this moment. When she spoke her final promise, that she chose this bond freely, recognized Lucas as soul match regardless of rank. Her voice carried conviction that silenced remaining objections. Later, at the observation deck where everything began, Arianna leaned against him, her long ears relaxed in contentment. "You whispered a wish thinking the universe wouldn't answer. But I heard you, and I'm so grateful you were brave enough to speak your heart even when you thought nobody was listening." Lucas wrapped his arm around her, marveling at how unguarded honesty changed everything. "I never imagined someone like you would say yes to someone like me." Arianna's smile was radiant. "That's because you still measure worth by rank and status. I measure it by character, by how you see the galaxy, by the poetry you write when you think nobody's reading, by the gentleness you show when you don't have to perform strength. By every measure that actually matters, you're exactly who I want beside me." They watched the nebula together. Two people from different worlds who found each other through accumulated moments of connection, whose unexpected union forced a galaxy to reconsider assumptions about compatibility and worth. And somewhere in diplomatic quarters, negotiators used their story as proof that if a human corporal and an Aetherian princess could build bridges across impossible divides, maybe lasting peace wasn't as impossible as everyone assumed. Love, it turned out, could be the most powerful form of diplomacy. not arranged marriages of political convenience, but genuine connections that happen when people see each other as